So in the last video, I was speaking really fast according to people, and therefore this one is going to be really, 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 really slow. Okay, I'm so excited because we have a completely new roadmap today, and this time it is a referendum, not an election. So this is going to be very different. Let's try this out. So let's start with a brief summary of this referendum. The president of Turkey wants to change the constitution to give himself and future presidents of Turkey more power. Now, currently Turkey has a parliamentary democracy similar to many European countries where the president is largely a ceremonial role. However, the president of Turkey wants to change this into an American-style presidential system. Therefore, he wants to eliminate the office of the prime minister and give most of their powers to the president. I'm going to now talk about the Turkish government. So if you want to skip this, you can click on the card, which should be on the top right. As of now, that is before the referendum, the Turkish government looks something like this. The legislative branch is made up of the Grand National Assembly, and the executive branch is made up of the prime minister's cabinet and the president. Let us go into a little more detail about the assembly. It is led by the AKP, which is the president's pro-referendum party, which means they support the Yes campaign, and the assembly has 550 seats. Elections happen every 4 years, and this is just a trailer of the current politics. We'll get to more of this later. Now, the president of Ecuador is a very interesting position because up till 2007, it used to be elected by the parliament, but now it is elected by a runoff voting. The president is usually the party leader, and he cannot do a lot without the prime minister's cabinet and the assembly. An example of this are decrees, which are basically executive orders if you're American. What they can do is that they can pass orders, however they cannot alter any laws or the constitution, and even to pass them, the president needs the approval of the cabinet. Recently, the president has been taking a lot of actions because Turkey is in a state of emergency, and we'll get to that later. Now, just like many other parliamentary democracies, the prime minister is chosen from the largest party in the parliament. The president formally selects the prime minister, although this has already been done before the election by the party. The PM essentially selects the cabinet, although the president also approves it. The PM also acts as the leader of the cabinet and the leader of the government coalition, and the cabinet is very typical. Now let's go over what would objectively happen if the referendum passes. There will be no prime minister, and the number of seats in parliament would go up from 550 to 600. Almost all of the prime minister's powers will go to the president. The president will be able to independently choose the cabinet. The president will also be able to dismiss the parliament and declare a state of emergency, which is a very controversial part of this referendum. Presidential decrees will also require no approval by the cabinet, and a presidential veto would require a 2/3 majority to be overturned. Now let's get into the fun part, which is deciphering what would happen after the referendum according to both of the campaigns. First, the Yes campaign. Current powers given to the president under emergency will become permanent, therefore order will be restored. The assembly will be only losing some powers, therefore it's not a big crisis. Even if the president becomes a dictator, there's still an impeachment process the assembly can follow. And because the assembly has been very ineffective because of its multi-party alliances, the president will become stronger and therefore the government will become more efficient. The military will be in control with the more powerful president. When there's a deadlock in the assembly, the powerful president can restore order. Systems like these have worked in other countries, including the United States, therefore it will work in Turkey as well. So what would happen according to the No campaign? Well, let's find out. The president gains way too much power, like declaring an emergency and also a veto power. The example the Yes campaign gives of America fails because in America, the president never gets to dissolve legislatures and declare an emergency. The president takes over the judicial branch as well by appointing many judges. And while the president takes over, there's virtually no checks and balances, and therefore the president can smoothly take over the government. In an emergency, the president is even more powerful because then decrees can even change laws. Plus, the current president can stay president till 2029. Plus, impeachment will be harder as well, so while the president is taking over the government, the assembly can basically do nothing. Therefore, as soon as emergency is declared, Turkey will turn to a dictatorship, anarchy everywhere, rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, Turkey is overrun. Okay, maybe I exaggerated the no side a little bit, but in general, these are the arguments that both sides are making. The yes side is arguing for an efficient government, and the no side is arguing that the president will become way too powerful. But what happens if the people vote no? Well, nothing. Now let's go to recent politics, and for that, I'm joined by a special speaker.
So there was an attempt to overthrow the government in July 2016. Hundreds of people were killed, the parliament, presidential palace was bombed, multiple locations were seized. This was done by a part of the military, who were then defeated by the loyal Turkish military. The president's approval ratings really went up because of this. There was a 3-month emergency declared by the president, and it was later extended up to today. Because of this, the government has taken over more control. In that emergency, there were a massive number of arrests, including soldiers, teachers, judges, other officials. The ruling party also has jailed many political opponents. The president blames the exiled politician,
who will not be named,
and the president has been a critic of the parliamentary system, which according to him was part of the problem, hence this referendum. Polling has been really close, with no having a slight edge recently.
Now it's time for a prediction. I'm leaning towards a no victory this time. And this is because, one, there are many minorities in Turkey that are against the AKP and the president, and they are not for the president getting more power. Now, while polls are not unanimously towards the no side, the yes side has been gaining some momentum recently. A majority of the polls still predict a no victory. This is especially true after multiple debacles by the yes side. Also, a higher turnout is predicted, and that is traditionally bad for the AKP. Although there's still a massive chance that the yes campaign might win. If so, this will be a major change for Turkey, but this will also be a major change for the rest of the world. Thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember that this video was born from a comment, so your comments are very important to me. Have a nice day. Subscribe.